The movie begins with three men hunting in the woods when one of them, Dale, separates from his two friends in pursuit of his quarry. Seconds later, Dale has found his quarry, and he's ready to pull the trigger of his rifle. But suddenly, a large bald man appeared and pushed Dale off the cliff, killing him instantly. The bald man is Ryan Verrett, an ex-cop on a mission of revenge after his family was brutally murdered a few years ago, and Dale is one of the family's killers. After he killed Dale, Ryan drove to a small town called Hope. But it was no ordinary town. Hope was a town ruled by a violent biker gang, which even scared the sheriff. Ryan knew about it, but he didn't care. He drove into the town anyway. Once there, Ryan entered a gas station to buy some items and find information on where he could stay. The owner, whose name was Kirby, directed him to the only motel in town.
Motel down the street.
It turned out that the motel, run by a young woman named Darcy, was empty of visitors, as it was rare for anyone from out of town to visit Hope. Darcy herself doesn't understand why Ryan dared to come to Hope, considering the town is known to be very dangerous. But Ryan only replied that he came for some business. Elsewhere, an FBI special agent named Frank is organizing a plan with his colleagues to hunt down Dale, who, in addition to his crime of killing people, is also a rapist. But while they are discussing, another agent enters the room and informs them that Dale has been found dead. The scene then shows us a flashback to when Ryan was a cop. He was celebrating a party with his family and friends when suddenly a group of criminals arrived and started shooting at everyone there, including Ryan and his family.
Wait, I'll be right back.
The leader of the attackers, Drake Santiago, committed the crime because he had a grudge against the police officers who had thrown him in jail in the past. So he was determined to get revenge by killing those cops and all their families. And Ryan was one of the cops he targeted. But miraculously, Ryan managed to survive despite being shot. In the present, Ryan was seen driving around the town when he came across some bikes parked in front of a building. Moments later, a biker gang member comes out of the building, and seeing that a dog keeps barking at him, he gets very upset. So he pulled out his gun, intending to shut the dog up. Fortunately, before he pulled the trigger, Ryan came to stop him before teaching him a lesson by beating him up. But the commotion caused by Ryan was heard by the gang members inside. They quickly rushed out of the building to check what was happening. The gang leader was there, and he was none other than Drake. But Drake seemed to have forgotten Ryan's face, which made sense, considering how many people he had killed. And even though Ryan had beaten up one of his members, he decided to let Ryan go. He didn't have time to take care of Ryan now as he had some urgent business to attend to. Still, he felt suspicious of Ryan. So he ordered his younger brother, Rexo, to keep an eye on the bald man. The next day, Rexo met Drake to inform him that a club owner refused to pay them the security fee. Enraged, Drake challenged the club owner to a one-round boxing match with him. If the man won, Drake promised he would never ask him to pay the security fee again. But even though Drake was very old, he was still strong. He was able to defeat the big man without any difficulty.
One round. With me.
One round.
The forgiving Drake then decided to let the man go. After all, Drake still needed his money, and the man wouldn't be able to give Drake any more money if he died.
Right now?
Yeah, right now.
Gonna want to leave it on there for about 5 minutes.
But extortion isn't the only way Drake and his gang make money. They also sell meth and have their own lab to produce it. And the person responsible for overseeing the lab is Rexo. Indeed, Rexo has many duties in the gang. Besides checking and monitoring their meth lab, he had to keep an eye on Ryan. So later that night, Rexo went to Darcy's motel to ask her if a big bald guy named Ryan was in the place. But she refused to answer his polite question, forcing Rexo to threaten her. He would send her to hell if she kept refusing to tell him where Ryan was. And he said those threatening words with a scary look on his face. Ryan happened to be at the motel, and he heard Rexo threatening Darcy. So he stops Rexo in the way he knows how, which is violence.
You okay?
Seeing Rexo being beaten and thrown around like that, Darcy warned Ryan that the person he was beating was the younger brother of the Circle gang leader, Drake. And Drake would retaliate if he found out his brother was being tortured. But Ryan didn't care. Instead, he took Rexo to the front of the gang's lab and tied him to a car. Then he let the car drive up and crash into the lab, causing it to explode. Rexo died in the explosion, the lab was destroyed, and Ryan left happy. It didn't take long for Drake and the gang to notice the explosion. They rushed to the lab, but there was nothing else they could do but stare sadly at the rising flames, except for Drake. He was furious after learning that his beloved brother was dead. Not long after, the sheriff and one of his men came to the scene to check what had happened. Drake and the others were still there, and when he saw the sheriff, he approached him and threatened him. He said if the sheriff dared to interfere, he would wipe out the sheriff's family. The sheriff did not have the guts to contradict Drake's words. He thought that by letting the gang do what they wanted, he could prevent further bloodshed in the town. The next day, Ryan was at it again, targeting a truck belonging to a gang about to deliver meth to another city. He followed the convoy stealthily before deflating the truck's tire, forcing the driver to get out. But as the driver got out, Ryan ambushed him and smashed the man's head against the car door. Then, he blew up the truck. The truck's destruction was noticed by a gang member, who reported it to Drake. Drake was furious, as the truck was loaded with many meths. He had lost a lot of money because some crazy person had destroyed his truck. He wanted the perpetrator of the blast to be found and brought before him, though he already suspected that the troublemaker was Ryan. So to prove that Ryan was the culprit, Drake ordered his men to bring Kirby to their base.
It's to see you.
Alright, what does he want?
He then asked Kirby to help him investigate Ryan and discover who he was. If Ryan is proven guilty, Drake will not hesitate to kill him. Out of fear, Kirby couldn't help but obey his orders. Still, on the same day, Kirby began his investigation of Ryan. To that end, he checks Ryan's car parked near the motel, hoping to find any information about him. But while he was snooping around in the car, Ryan came out of the motel and caught him, forcing Kirby to stop his investigation. Smiling awkwardly, he invited Ryan to drink at his house, which happened to be not far from the motel. But Ryan wasn't stupid. When they arrived at Kirby's house, Ryan asked why he had searched his car earlier. And thus, Kirby admitted that Drake only ordered him to find out about Ryan. But just as Kirby finished speaking, they heard the sound of a motorcycle stopping in front of the house. It turned out to be one of Drake's men, Crab, who came to challenge Ryan. Their fight was short though. Ryan managed to defeat him, but he let Crab go from there.
God damn it!
Meanwhile, Drake was conducting her investigation by meeting the sheriff. From their conversation, Drake learns that Ryan is an ex-cop who quit his job after his family was murdered. Drake thanks the sheriff for the information and gives him some money.
My best. Do better.
Later that night, Drake and his men went to Kirby's house when the owner was asleep. He was disappointed that Kirby was unreliable, even for something as simple as finding information about a bald man. So as punishment for his incompetence, Drake ordered Crab to kill Kirby. Ryan only found out about Kirby's death the next morning. And he knew it was the Drake gang who killed Kirby. Because who else could have committed that atrocity but them? So with no time to lose, Ryan went to one of Drake's clubs, where he beat up all his enemies' men. After that, he kidnaps Crab and puts him in his car's trunk. Then he killed Crab and dumped the body before the gang's headquarters. Drake was furious to see his favorite man dead. He immediately ordered all his remaining men to gather and prepare their weapons, as they were going to hunt Ryan down. Later that night, at the motel, Darcy heard suspicious noises from outside. So she got up from the couch and grabbed her shotgun, ready to shoot whoever broke in. But Ryan, who had already guessed it was his enemies, asked Darcy to take cover behind the reception desk. Moments later, the front door opened slowly, and Drake's men entered. Ryan deliberately waited until they were all near him. And when he felt they were within his reach, he told Darcy to turn off the lights. Total darkness enveloped the room for the next few seconds as gunshots rang out. When Darcy turned the lights back on, she found all the gang members in the room dead. Amazingly, Ryan was completely unharmed. But still, he realized that the place was unsafe, so Ryan took Darcy away. Unfortunately, he didn't realize his enemies were waiting around the motel. They then ambushed Ryan, beating him until he passed out. When Ryan woke up, he first saw Drake's beautiful face. He and Darcy had been taken to the gang's headquarters, and Ryan's arms were now tied to a chair, leaving him unable to move freely. Drake tells him that she will kill both Ryan and Darcy. But before he finishes her off, he will taste her body first. After saying that, he ordered one of his men to torture Ryan while he retreated to the back room. And thus, the torture began. The tough guy beat Ryan severely, and he seemed to enjoy it. But suddenly, Ryan could untie the ropes binding his arms, allowing him to beat the tough guy back.
But, Drake wants you alive.
Now that the guy was unconscious, Ryan went looking for Darcy. He searched every corner of the base, which was a ship, but instead, he found Drake's men. They immediately surrounded Ryan, trying to beat him with their elegant moves. But no matter how hard they tried, Ryan was too tough for them to conquer. After exploring the ship, Ryan finally managed to find Darcy. Unlike Ryan before, she was bound, but her mouth was covered with duct tape. He then untied her, and they started looking for a way off the ship. But of course, Drake would not let Ryan escape. Ryan realized the time for the final duel had come, so he told Darcy to leave while he fought Drake. But before they start fighting, Drake tells Ryan that he remembers him as the former police officer whose family he slaughtered before he came to rule in Hope. All this time, he thought Ryan was dead. After that revelation, the duel between them finally began. The two exchanged blows, but Ryan's offense was stronger, allowing him to knock Drake down. But just when Ryan thought he had won, Drake got back up and grabbed a knife, intending to slash Ryan from behind. Fortunately, Agent Frank from the FBI arrived just in time. He shot Drake dead before he had a chance to slash at Ryan. At that time, the FBI had come to hope to eradicate Drake's gang, who had oppressed the townspeople. Frank decided not to arrest Ryan because he felt the police still needed a figure like him. And thus, Ryan left the town, promising that he and Frank would meet again someday.
We're a good cop. You only...
At the movie's end, Ryan is seen raiding a place and shooting at a group of people inside. It turns out that there are still friends of Drake left, people who participated in the murder of Ryan's family. And now, Ryan has come to kill them,